Me and my fiancée, Sarah, decided to celebrate our engagement with a trip to Death Valley National Park. We'd been together for 3 years, and I popped the question under a starlit sky just a week before. She wanted an adventure, something to mark the start of our forever. I suggested a hike to Dante's View, remote, stunning, perfect for a couple in love. She was thrilled. We packed our gear, filled our water bottles, and set out at dawn, the desert air already warm against our skin. The trail was quiet, just the crunch of our boots on the gravel and the occasional hawk circling above. Sarah was all smiles, snapping selfies with the endless salt flats stretching below. "This is us," she said, grabbing my hand. "Unbreakable, like this place." I kissed her, feeling like the luckiest guy alive. But something felt off. The air seemed heavier the higher we climbed, like it was pressing down on us. I chalked it up to the altitude and the heat. By noon, we reached a secluded overlook. The view was unreal, miles of barren, cracked earth under a sky that seemed too big. Sarah sat on a rock, sketching the landscape in her journal, while I set up our lunch. That's when I noticed the carvings on a nearby boulder. They weren't natural, sharp, jagged symbols, like something scratched by a desperate hand. I pointed them out to Sarah, joking about ancient curses. She laughed, but her eyes lingered on them a little too long. As we ate, she got quiet. Not her usual thoughtful silence, but something deeper, like she was listening to something I couldn't hear. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded, but her smile was forced. "Just tired," she said, but her hands were trembling as she packed up her sketchbook. I suggested we head back, but she insisted on pushing to the summit. "We're almost there, Jake. Don't wimp out on me now." The trail grew narrower, the rocks sharper. The sun was brutal, and our water was running low. I started to feel it too, a prickling unease, like we were being watched. Every few steps, I glanced back, half expecting to see someone behind us. Nothing but empty desert. Sarah was ahead, moving faster than usual, like she was chasing something. "Slow down," I called, but she didn't respond. Her pace was almost frantic. When we finally reached the summit, the view was breathtaking, but Sarah didn't stop to take it in. She stood at the edge, staring down into the valley, her back to me. "Sarah?" I said, stepping closer. She turned, and her face wasn't right. Her eyes were too wide, her mouth twisted in a way I'd never seen. "Do you love me, Jake?" she asked, her voice low, almost a growl. I laughed nervously. "Of course I do. You know that." She stepped closer, her engagement ring glinting in the sunlight. "Would you die for me?" Before I could answer, the ground trembled. Not an earthquake, something deeper, like a pulse from the earth itself. The carvings we'd seen earlier flashed in my mind, and I swear I heard a whisper, not from Sarah, but from around us. She grabbed my hand, her grip cold and too tight. "It's here," she said, her voice not entirely her own. "It's always been here." I yanked my hand back, heart pounding. "Sarah, what the hell's going on?" She didn't answer. Instead, she started chanting words I didn't understand, sharp and guttural. The air grew thick, the sky darkening like a storm was rolling in, but there wasn't a cloud in sight. I stumbled back, tripping over a rock, and that's when I saw it, a shadow, not hers, moving behind her. It was tall, thin, with limbs that bent wrong. Its eyes red, glowing, locked onto me. I screamed her name, but she just kept chanting, her voice blending with the whispers now echoing off the rocks. The shadow reached for her, and I lunged, grabbing her arm to pull her away. But when I touched her, her skin was wrong, too cold, too smooth. Like stone. She turned to me, and her face wasn't Sarah's anymore. It was hers, but older, decayed, like she'd been dead for years. "You promised forever," she hissed, and the shadow laughed, a sound like shattering glass. I ran. I don't know how I made it down the trail, but I did, heart pounding, legs burning. When I reached the ranger station, I was incoherent, babbling about Sarah and the shadow. They sent a search party, but they never found her. Not a trace. Just her sketchbook, left on that overlook, filled with drawings of those carvings, and one of me, my face twisted, eyes glowing red. Here's the twist: Sarah wasn't my fiancée. Not really. We'd been fighting for months, on the verge of breaking up. The engagement was a lie, a desperate attempt to fix things. I thought a grand gesture, a ring, a trip, would bring her back to me. But something in Death Valley knew. It saw the cracks in us, the lies we told each other, and it took her. Or maybe she gave herself to it. I don't know. I'm back home now, but I hear her voice at night, whispering my name. The carvings are in my dreams, and sometimes, when I look in the mirror, my eyes aren't right. I don't know what followed me out of that valley, but it's not done with me. And I'm terrified it never will be.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a twist. Stay tuned to Reddit Tales Times for your daily dose of drama, laughs, and unbelievable stories.